You ever walking through your city dump, you're wondering how people can throw perfectly good things like kids' lazy boys and underpants that still have a couple holes worth of life left in them? Well, today we're going to take a pile of scrap like this and turn it into a side-by-side. Stay tuned. Don't believe me? Last week we ended the episode at about this point. We mocked up a little bit of a body, something way cooler than what we started with. So this is going to be absolutely awesome. If you haven't seen that episode yet, go check that out first and then come on back. And if I can make as much of it out of garbage as I can, I'm going to do that because it's kind of cooler to work with stuff you find, and it makes a really unique vehicle in the end. I mean, if I would have built the tub out of just stuff I bought, it would never came out looking like what's looking like now. So this, hopefully it's going to be the same once I get it all figured out and all the angles and everything cut and it finally put together. You guys will be able to see kind of what I had going on in my mind. This week, I want to at least get this chassis done or close to done. I got to build a lower frame to support all the structure, and then I'm going to sit basically this just on top. So I'm going to get started first by building that lower frame, what's going to hook up to our rear suspension, what's going to be the support for our front suspension, just one load-bearing component right through the center. I'm going to be building that out of about 1 1/8 inch sprinkler pipe, really strong stuff, and I got it for free at a scrapyard, so that's always a bonus. That's what I'm going to get started on now. So here we go, I guess. Now that I have the lower frame all tacked together, I got this center bar here, this 1 1/8 piece of sprinkler pipe. That's going to carry all the load for the whole cart. I got the front end tabs that hold the arms are going to be mounted to this section here. And then that carries right through to the back of the cart to kind of distribute the load. It's the same tubing I've been using on the tub. If it carries an adult, it should have no problem carrying 2 kids. I want all this stuff, for the most part, to be either scrap or recycled recycled stuff just to show what you can do without spending a whole crap ton of money. These pieces of 1.5 square tubing are actually some pieces of old gym equipment that I'm not using anymore. I had stripped all the parts and all the hardware off of it, and I just had some of the tubing laying around. So this is perfect. It didn't cost anything. Gives you a nice flat surface to build on, and a really good starting area. Now that this lower section is tacked together, square, I can move on to mounting the cab and the chairs and everything to this lower section. So I'm going to separate the parts of the cab. I'm going to grind away this and mount the lower section to the frame. Now that we got the bottom all tacked together with the rear supports, we can move on to the top part of the cab or roll cage, whatever you want to call it. When I cut these rear pieces off earlier, I didn't really cut them off level or anything, so I'm going to come back and even out those cuts, make those a little bit more square. Once I get these all leveled off, I can set the cab to the right angle I want it and tack those into place. So I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to move on to figuring out the rear area. Yeah. All right, this is where we are right now. So we got most of the chassis kind of mocked up. I got to finish off some welds in some spots and put some support brackets and stuff like that and some gussets in. But other than that, we're pretty well ready to move on to the front end. I can't believe how quick this is going together. This is just, man, this is so cool. This is so cool. So much better than that other cart we wanted to make. So this is like, I'm really happy about this. This is so much better. And gosh, I'm kind of jealous. So I'm going to get on to getting some more supports in for this rear piece. It's a little bit flexible without any supports in it. So we're going to gusset it up, make it a little bit more rigid. And yes, I have to pee. I really didn't like how short these were. It doesn't really line up with the lower suspension mount for the front. It sits actually like 3 or 4 inches behind. Not a lot, but enough to make it really difficult to kind of make a good looking front end. So I'm just going to cut these off, and then I'm going to weld in these two little extensions that I've made, lengthen those up a bit, and then I'll start putting the bumper and everything together. We are partially done getting this all mocked up. The chassis is pretty well done, other than a couple little spots. I still have to put some gussets in some spots, but I'll get around to that when I'm flipping this thing over and actually doing all the final welding. Everything's just tacked together now in case I have to cut it apart. I'm going to take it off the table. I'm going to clean up around a bit so I can get around a little bit easier. And it's not that heavy. Look at that. That's not bad at all. All right, so we got it moved over onto the other table, mocked up some wheels on it to see what it's going to look like. And yeah, it is pretty sweet. It is going to sit a little bit higher than this, but I'm just checking to make sure that the tires can steer inside their wheel wells and stuff like that. We have all the clearance that we need. And we do. Now that we have the whole dump kind of theme going on with the side-by-side, I kind of want to continue that way. I want to put plastics on this, and I found something that's going to work awesome. It's one of those black 45-gallon plastic drums. I'm going to cut that up, put some tabs, and then bolt that into all the empty positions. There's still a few little cross members I have to put in. Just put them in then. I'm going to put the cross members in. And so now it's on to doing all the gussets and stuff. So I got to finalize a bunch of the welds that the gussets are going to sit over. So I'm going to get started, I guess, and just start doing a crap ton of welding. All right, we got all the gussets welded into place, all the ones we need to be on here, and I can't help but want to put the plastic, at least the hood, on this thing to see what it's going to look like. So I have my hood material right here. I'm going to cut a pattern just to mock one up first so I don't ruin that off the first cut. And then I'm going to weld some mounting tabs in where we'll just bolt in with some quarter inch nuts and bolts. So that's going to be cool. It's going to be really cool.
Well, I think that's it for this episode. We got the whole chassis pretty well built. I got a lot more done than I actually thought I was going to get done, which is a first. It never works out that way. But yeah, I think we're at a good spot to stop. I need to get started on the front suspension. I need to get started on the rear suspension. I got to start welding all the tabs in to put the plastics on. These are just templates I got made out of foam board. But it gives me an idea of what it's going to look like. And it's kind of nice to look at because it's not just this big skeleton that you can see right through to the back wall. So it gives you an idea of what this thing's actually going to look like when it's all done. So like and subscribe if you want to see more. This thing changes every single episode. And thank you very much for watching. See you later. Man, I'm jealous as fuck. This thing's awesome. How do I get out?